This is Jan Prentice with CoreIntegrator. I'm an account executive for CoreIntegrator, and thanks for joining us today. We're really excited to show you our platform. We have also Matt Wald, who is our Director of Marketing, and Tom is a Senior Solutions Specialist, and Tom's going to be taking you through the demo today, so welcome.
All right, Jan, thanks for the introduction, and thank all of you for joining us today. We've got a brief, we're going to keep it very brief here, introduction to our software. It's called CoreIntegrator. And as you can see here on the main page, we've just got a brief PowerPoint just to kind of tell you what we're going to show you today. But our goal is to make people more productive in what they do in their jobs. That's what we're going to focus on today. And we're going to get right in. We're going to spend a few minutes in the software just to give you a real high level of what the software looks like and some of the things that you can do to take advantage of that technology. Now, most of our customers buy our product to enhance or improve their procure-to-pay operations. What do I mean by that? Processing invoices and automating the buying process. Sometimes they do it for one or the other or both combined. Here are some of our most popular solutions that we do. Invoice processing, and we kind of separate that out from PO matching. They're both processing invoices, but they're usually done differently and uniquely. Invoice processing is a non-PO invoice that generally needs to be approved and coded and so forth. PO matching is an invoice that's associated to a purchase order. So generally they are either received or we're going to match that invoice to that open purchase order. Payment requests is another one. It's like a check request where people are looking to buy something or pay for something in this particular case, but they don't have a regular invoice. We also handle recurring invoices, payment processing, travel and expense management, journal entries, vendor management. The list goes on and on and on. On the procurement side, we're going to start off with a purchase request. And this is becoming a lot more popular these days where people are really trying to look for cash management within the business. Let's get something approved before you buy. I know it's kind of a unique concept, but more and more companies are moving in that direction. So our PO management, receiving process, budgeting, contracts and agreements associated with all of that. And then through all of those things, those are helping you improve your business processes, but we also apply a lot of technology to this, intelligent type technology. OCR, which probably a lot of you have heard of, it stands for optical character recognition. It reads information off of invoices or other documents. It's pretty cool how that works. But we've got a lot of other things that we apply to that to really help make this a very effective process. We'll talk about a few of these as we go through our demonstration today. Which kind of leads me into this whole process here of making everybody efficient. And kind of the industry terms these days, they talk about touchless type operations. Well, you can't be completely touchless, but we strive toward that. And we do this in a number of different ways. Through our software, we want to automate a lot of the labor-intensive processes. One of the ways is to reduce the amount of data entry that people do. If any of you are in the accounts payable department or actually process invoices, then you know full well what it takes to get an invoice through the system. It's a lot of data entry, it's a lot of sending it around for people to approve and so forth. And our systems look to help reduce that effort and all the repetitive tasks that take place. We also want to give management a good feeling for control. Are these invoices or purchase requests going to the right people for approval? We don't want to send it to too many and not too few. We want to make sure that it's just right. And we also want to log a history of every action that takes place. So if we ever get audited or we just want to look back to see who approved this purchase, we know exactly who did it and when. For those of you who are considering this, and if you're on the phone today, you probably understand that it is a costly process. Industry terms indicate that it's anywhere from $12 to $15 just to process a single invoice. Just multiply out how many invoices you process and you have a pretty good idea of how much it costs your business. So we obviously want to focus on reducing that cost to as low as possible by understanding your bottlenecks, all the inefficiencies, and applying technology in the right ways to help that effort. So our platforms, I don't want to get into a lot of details with this, but we have cloud-based solutions, on-prem solutions, hosted solutions. It's really kind of your choice. And we offer two different platforms because they really address two different market spaces. Our flagship product we call CoreIntegrator Enterprise. And that is for people who really require what we call unlimited customization. They have unique needs or very complex workflows. So we would probably lean towards something like that. And you can configure almost anything you want. But a lot of people look for solutions that are right out of the box. They're built for the cloud. We kind of take the best of our enterprise solution and put it into a nice packaged, rapid to deploy solution. This is one of our leading solutions these days. Everybody's looking for something in the cloud, it seems like. That's what we're going to show you today is AP1. We'll get into the demonstration here. We're going to go through it pretty quick, 15, 20 minutes, something like that. Obviously, if at some point you want to see a one-on-one demonstration, we'll slow it down. We'll take you through this. Just reach out to your TM group representative and they'll help coordinate a demonstration for you. But as we go through this, these types of solutions are used by people at all levels in your organization, the executive down to whatever level of somebody who might be using the system. Maybe they're just using it to look up invoices or purchase requests. But it has to be easy to use. You can't have all sorts of training throughout your entire organization. So ease of use is critical. I know it's kind of overused, but you can make the decision when you see it. Process improvement, that's what we're all about. So visualize how your life can change when you see this demonstration today in changing the way that you do it today, probably manually, moving a lot of things around through email or paper-based. You're going to see a whole new world here in a few seconds. But then obviously the productivity gains, and I'm going to kind of focus in on one of these areas here, and it really has to do with how we can reduce the amount of data entry that's done in this process. Now, there's lots of technology that we would apply. And again, if we have a one-on-one, we'll go through a lot of these different things. We just simply don't have the time today. And we're kind of guessing at some of the things that you're interested in. But we can really get pretty sophisticated on some of the things that we can apply here. You're going to see this one today. We call it Smart AP, and it's combined with OCR and verified data capture. This is going to help us virtually eliminate data entry for non-PO invoices. Just to kind of get you started here, as invoices come into the system today, most people email invoices into the system. So the first thing that's going to happen is we're going to take those invoices. We're going to extract the attached invoice in the email. We're going to run it through OCR technology, and then we're going to verify that data. So we're going to give you an invoice with data already pre-entered into your system at about 99% accuracy. You'll see exactly what that looks like in just a second. So for today, we're going to keep it short and simple, like I said, take you for a quick tour of the software. We'll talk about this data capture process that I just introduced there, and then we'll focus on a non-PO invoice. And I'll bounce around a little bit and talk about some of the other things, but that's really what we're going to talk about today. Okay, with that, let's get straight into the demonstration. All right, what you're looking at right now is our user interface. And actually, how did we get here? Why don't I log out, log back in? So opening up a browser is all it takes to get into the software. You click on it, and you come right into this page right here. Now, right now, what I'm looking at invoices. How do I know that? This is just a listing of invoices. And over on the left-hand side, we see that I'm in invoice approval. We refer to that as our non-PO invoices. Separately, we sort out our PO-based invoices because they're processed differently. Generally don't need a complete approval process because the PO was already approved, but we go through a matching process. Here's purchase requests right here, receivings, check requests, and a whole slew of other types of solutions, but we're going to stay up here under invoices for right now. Now, these invoices are assigned to me. How do I know that? Because up here in the right-hand corner, it says these are the invoices assigned to you. If I want to look at the ones that are out pending approval, somebody else has it, I just click on In Progress. And you can see I have pages and pages of invoices out here, all assigned to other people. I can see that because I can see the status and I can see who it's assigned to. If I come right down here, I can see out for organizational approval. Ashley has this one. She's had it for almost 33 days. It's kind of crazy. We'll have to talk to Ashley about that one. But I can find virtually anything out here in just a couple of seconds. Let's just say that a vendor calls and they're looking for the status of their invoices. And let's say it's the Little Rock Company. So I'll just come in under the vendor name and just type in Rock. That's simple. And all of those invoices, those pages of invoices just got filtered down to just my Little Rock invoices. And if I want to just see the ones that are greater than a certain amount, let's just say I'm looking at the ones that are greater than $5,000. Perfect. Now I've got a filtered list. I'm down to just a couple of pages here. So very easy to find these invoices. Now I don't have to go around and call people and shoot them an email. I see it all right here. Now another filter that we have is finished. This is like your electronic filing cabinet. After we've updated your accounting system, they will come over here in a completed status. Let's just take a look at one of these and you'll be able to see the invoice for the first time here. So I'm going to come down here and I'm just going to click on View. And this is what it looks like when you're looking at an invoice. Up at the top is a lot of information. We'll go over that in just a second. But I could see how it was coded right here. Here's my GL account. I can see the payment information. This particular one, we synchronize this with your accounting system, and this one was paid on this check number or ACH number, check date, and the amount. I can also see the approval history. This is cool if I wanted to come back in here and see exactly who approved it and in what chronological order. So Alice started with it, then it went on to Alex, and then to Jim, then to Ashley, then to Sally. This thing went around the block here. And then finally back to Alice, who released it to the accounting system. Over here, if I really want to see the detail, I've got all this. As a matter of fact, this one actually synchronized to the voucher number from the accounting system when we pushed it over. But this tells you by day, date, and time, and by user, everything that happened. That's a quick look at a finished document. But let's come back here because we talked about what our software can do here to help improve your day-to-day life in processing not just invoices, but purchase requests and so on. But I'm using non-PO invoices as an example on this. These invoices are now in my queue. And if you remember, they came in by email. That's traditionally the way people do it. We'll monitor the email box, we'll extract the invoice, we run it through this technology, and we verify the data. So by the time it gets here where you're looking at it for the very first time, it's going to look something more like this, where a lot of this data is already filled in for you. And you can go on from there. Well, let's look at how we can improve that process. Right up at the top, I've got an invoice that appears that it doesn't have any data whatsoever in it. So let's just open this one up. And this is from a vendor called Medline. And for those of you who do or are familiar with this process, you know that there's a lot of data entry. So I want to, by example here, show you how much you're actually saving with our system. In the old days, maybe the way that you're doing it today, you're going to come into a system, whether it's the accounting system or whatever, and you are going to identify some things like which company is going to be paying for this and the vendor. Who's the vendor on this? Now I'm just going to start typing Med and we'll grab Medline. But I've got remit to information, payment terms. If I do budgeting, then I'm going to pick a budget year. What type of transaction, an invoice, a credit memo, and so forth. And you start putting in an invoice number. You're starting to see here that we've got quite a bit of data, and I'm just picking dates and amounts and so forth. Let's make this $8,000 for argument's sake here. The number of fields here could add up significantly, 20, 25 different fields, depending on how many GL distributions that I do. Now, that amount that I just keyed in there is the first bit of information that we're going to handle for you through technology and for somebody to verify that it's accurate. So you can just skip worrying about entering that. Now, what I want to do here is I want to take this and I want to move it back to the queue so it looks like it does when it first comes into the system. But I want to point out a few things here. There's no description fields. There's no where am I going to send it for approval? And there's certainly no GL accounts that I've added here. All this is empty. But watch what happens. I'm going to hit my home page. This is a Medline invoice for $8,000. Let's go right back here. In a regular environment, this is what it's going to look like. This information is going to be pre-filled for you. Now, when I click on it this time, watch what happens, because the system learns how we process invoices. And because we've put a Medline invoice through the system before, it knows how you code it. It knows who you send it to for approval. So watch the difference. Click on process, and you notice it auto-populated the description, who it's going to go to. And look over here. My GL accounts are already filled for me. 20 to 25 fields have been completely filled out. The only thing that I need to do is just review this and hit the submit button. That's it. That's when we start talking about creating a more efficient environment, reducing the amount of data entry, and making things a lot easier in your environment. Now, to get a quick preview of where this is going to go, this is going to go out to Alex and then Jim for approval. Now, the rules are based on how you set them up. It could be based on the vendor. It could be based on the cost center that needs to approve this. It could be based on the type of invoice. It could be based on the amount of the invoice. But we'll get it to the right people. So I didn't have to do any data entry. I hit submit. That's out of my queue, and this moved on to somebody to approve. Let's use the system to see where that went. So I'm going to hit in progress right here. And if you notice, right up at the top, I've got a Medline invoice for $8,000, and it's assigned to Alex. So Alex is going to get an email notification. Alex can approve this on his phone. He can approve it through email. Well, let's just do it another way here. I'm going to log out and pretend like I'm Alex. And here's Alex. We'll log in. Alex likes the dark theme. He's looking at invoice approval here, and right up at the top of his queue is that $8,000 invoice. You can see he's got quite a few other things he's got to get on. But let's just look at this first one. I want to show you how simple and easy it is. We just open up the document. All of my information is right here in front of me. I can attach supporting documentation here by just dragging and dropping them. I can check out my GL distributions to make sure everything is accurate. And I simply have approve or reject options right here. Let's just assume everything is good. So I'll just hit approve. It moves on, and I have all sorts of other invoices that I can work on. It's that simple. Let's log out. Now that would move on to the next set of approvers and so on, all automatically. Alex didn't have to worry about who to send it to. It just happens. Eventually, it's going to come all the way back around to Alice here in accounts payable. And you can see Alice has a number of different invoices here in different statuses. Here's a rejected invoice. Here's some in final accounts payable review. But I also might see duplicate invoices and other types that would show up here. Those I can act on uniquely. But once it gets into final review, I'll just open it up and I can push it on over to the accounting system, and a payables transaction will be created instantly. That's all there is to it. Nice and simple, but a huge amount of time saving involved with that. Now, if I'm working with PO invoices, that's a little bit different. I would open them up, very similar to what I just did, and then we would go through a matching process to make sure that it matches what the purchase order, and if we're doing three-way matches, to the receipts. We also can apply a lot of extra technology to help have that happen automatically for you. Other things that we include here, would be things like a dashboard to really analyze what's going on in your system. When you start getting into hundreds or thousands of invoices going on at one time, and here we've got only 105 in the system, we can see about half of them are out at the approver status. Here's the value of all those invoices and how many invoices are past the due date. We're not doing so well here. Good thing this is just a demonstration system. But I can take a look at the different categories based on due date, the amounts that are due in each of those buckets, my year-to-date performance, how am I paying my vendors, and so on. How many invoices am I getting in based on how many am I processing? And how long does it take me to process an invoice? And then I can start doing an analysis on my, let's just say top 1, 5, 10, 20% of my vendors where the invoices are stalled or by dollar amount. And I can click here to just view right to it. For those of you who are into purchasing, we can do the same thing over here and exactly see where your purchase is being spent, how much is in the system right now, and what is our spend pattern on a monthly basis, and so on. Okay. I can also take a look at my open purchase order report to see which ones are received and still open, and so on. Lots of information in the system. So today, really, we just wanted to get you introduced to what it looks like and just kind of move around the system. We hope you think that it's super simple, and we hope that you reach out to your representative at the TM group. We partner with them. They're a fantastic partner of ours. And we'll set up another demonstration that's a lot slower, a lot more personable, get into the details that make sense for you if you do purchase requests, if you want to get into that area of it, depending on your system, if you use things like Great Plains or Business Central or some other accounting system, we'll make sure we tailor it appropriately that way as well. So both GP and with Business Central, we've been doing this for a long time. We got started with this back in the late 1990s before Microsoft was on the buying spree of accounting systems. So we've been tied into GP from the very beginning. Business Central more in the last several years, but that is really kind of a focus of ours is the Business Central clients that are moving, whether they're coming from GP and they're moving on or they're just brand new Business Central clients. But we also integrate with other Microsoft products and a lot of other industry products. But for now, I just want to thank you very much for attending today, and we hope we hear from you soon.